So, hey, uh, I wanted to talk about a thing in recovery tonight a little bit. Uh, Obviously recovery come from that world. And there was a very important statement in what we call the big book, which is the text that also has some stories about people, testimonials. But the text of the program of recovery is in this blue book, the big book, they call it. And if you see anything that has 12 step or 80 steps or 3 steps, it's usually a linear program. Yeah. It's of time. It's a process. Yes. And usually the more important thing is, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 instead of, let's say 84. So in this case, the biggest thing in recovery actually is you got to quit playing God, because it says first. So basically, all the principles that will guide you in a sober life comes later. First, you got to quit playing God. And they have a simple reason why. It didn't work. Yeah. So it didn't work. And that doesn't usually convince anyone because they keep thinking it's going to work. So getting evidence that it doesn't work doesn't do the trick usually. Yeah, it just you're more motivated. There isn't a you, but there's more control and more managing. Yes. So, and when I was introduced to that idea, I read the book like I read every other book from a self-centered point of view. And when I saw you got to quit playing God, I felt like I was the one who was playing God and I had to quit. Yeah. Just at first, it was like almost the automatic reaction to that statement was, I'm doing something, I got to stop doing it. Yeah. And I didn't know this is a pretty big one, playing God, but I, you know, so, and it stumped me a while. Yeah. Because it didn't seem like I could stop playing God. Yeah. So whatever power I was assuming I had, it didn't seem to be applicable. But then I realized I was not that which is playing God. And this is the key, I feel, to this message. Yeah. I didn't quit playing God. I lost interest in that which was playing God. Yeah, this is the key. I quit playing God and I lost interest in that which was playing God, which therefore I lost interest in the playing God. Yeah. Why did I lose interest in it? The interest in it was me, basically. Yeah. So when it was presented as me and taken for granted as me and historically proven as me, that me constantly got a lot of my interest and attention, or the interest and attention tunnel or funneled into that account. Yeah. The self-centered account. Yeah. To the point. So once again, I hear something and I say, all right, I've got to quit playing God. Then in these bogus attempts that maybe I attempted or tried, I realized, every move that I make to quit playing God is playing God. Yeah. How the hell am I going to quit playing God? Because every move I make, you could categorize it as playing God ad infinitum. It would just go on. There would be no point where it would change. Yeah. Wow. All right. That was the second little wave. And then the third wave hit. I'm not that which is playing God. So it's sort of like when I quit smoking, the smoking in this world doesn't quit, but I quit smoking. So I lose interest in smoking. Does that mean there's no smoking? No, there's smoking. Someone next to me may be smoking. Yeah. But I've lost interest in it. So now the smoking doesn't have the effect it had because I've lost interest in it. And this is incredible because you believe maybe things have a certain standardized effect, but they don't. This is a subjective experience. Yeah. And it's the emphasis that comes knowingly or unknowingly from us to those things is what gives the meaning to those things. Yeah, it does. This is like, 101. This is like 101 class. Just like the idea of in the Course in Miracles, the big M mind projects, and then what we take ourselves to be perceives. Yeah. So we perceive a projection to be real. That's what happens. Yes. So the dreamt is an object of the dreaming. The dreamt is not what's dreaming. The dreamt is not what's dreaming. Mind is what's dreaming. The dreamt is where the meanings or the subjective meaning of the dreaming gets distributed through. Yes? It can come through, let's say, if you want to call it the heart or the gut, but mostly everyone, it's the head. Yeah. So you see something like in the big book, you will cease fighting everyone or anything. It sounds like another unable to succeed adventure. Yeah. I'm bound to lose because I remember when I first got sober and they gave me an idea of what I was sort of like stewing in all day, which was grievance. And they told me it was resentment. So then I said, and I got that it was bad, so to speak. So I said, I'd wake up in the morning and say, I'm not going to have a resentment. 5 minutes later, I had a resentment occurred. So I failed my first test before I even went into the school of life. Yes. So, so it wasn't how I saw things was what needed to be changed. Yeah. Yeah. Not the seeing of things. The seeing of things is the given. Yeah. But how I saw the seeing of things is really the interpretation. And when there's an emphasis, something else is lacking. So when there's an emphasis, let's say on self-centeredness, the idea of having a feeling about others is lacking, so to speak. Yes, because of the duality of this event. Yeah. So most people, they have a story of what they've moved towards in their life, but they don't realize the engine of that moving towards was a moving away from something else. Yeah. So let's say someone doesn't feel they're enough. So there's a overcompensation and become a workaholic and they produce all these things. But it wasn't that they were so interested in that. They wanted to get out of something else. Yeah. It's not them, but there's a movement. Yeah. Yeah. So when I saw I'm not that which is playing God, I lost interest in that which is playing God. Yeah. Yeah. And then something else could start playing a huge role in my life other than that which was playing God. Yeah. Maybe God, if you want to call it that. And God and the playing of God are different. They're not the same. Yeah. Playing God is an absence of God or a lack thereof. God doesn't need to play. Yes. So when I heard this message, the first thing I got or started to understand was the mechanical claiming. First, it was the claiming of whatever happens by the mental activity. So we're in an event called conscious contact, yes? So we are saddled, like it or not, with a sense of consciousness. So that consciousness is having contact here. So the imaginary wall in the dream is felt as a real wall. Yeah. So conscious contact. And after the conscious contact, and I emphasize the after, there's a claiming of whatever brought us into the conscious contact. There was a claiming of the contact by the mental activity. Yeah. Now, at first, I thought that's another fucking thing I got to stop doing. Yeah, it seems it's so fast. It's before the birth of Paul. I mean, I can't. It's like the Catholic mortal sin. They break the news to you when you're in first grade. You're fucked, and you don't even remember what you did. The original sin has already disqualified you. It's insane. And you don't remember. So in this case, that conscious contact, you're not choosing it. The conscious contact is the event here, yeah? And the claiming of it isn't you choosing it, yeah? It's mechanical. And this was super important here, yeah? Because the sense of volition will leak into everything. Even in non-doing, you'll think there's a doing. Yeah, a subtle, very sophisticated doing in the non-doing. Yeah, it's just the way, because the system, it's like the hammer only sees nails. Yeah, the system sees in a certain way and it's blind to a lot of other possibility. So whatever's going on, it has a lot to do with you and choice. And so if it sucks, it's because you did something, probably, yeah, which is incredible. So here it was, there was a claiming, but it was mechanical, yeah, sort of like if it was a hole puncher, that's what it does. It punches holes, yeah. When I realize it's a hole puncher, does it keep punching holes? Yes, because that's its nature. It's a hole puncher. That's what it does. So the mental activity claims the conscious contact and then reinforces that claiming with a narrative of self-centeredness, yeah? And to try to break that addictive direction of interest and attention is insane. But if you lose interest and attention in the thing, that's sucking it all its way, that's how it works. So this message tells me I'm not doing a lot of shit that I thought I was doing. Yeah? And that a lot of it's mechanical. And this is what I would notice with people in spirituality and people who I met. They would get a free sample and they would disqualify themselves when what they thought were you kept doing its thing. Yeah. They thought they completely changed and they thought a lot of the mechanical shit was them. Yeah. And so when the mechanical shit kept going, they were surprised and bummed out. Yeah. And then they would, if you made it in an extensive way, it would have been they woke up and then somehow they unawoke. They unwoke up because of, yeah. And then it's sort of like people in AA, if they leave and go out after 20 years, it may be harder to get back in than they have ever imagined. So once you've been disqualified from the achieving of an awakening, it's a huge reinforcement of your inherent awakening being denied. Yes? Yeah? Wow. So a lot of mechanical stuff. So you have no ownership of it. Hallelujah. Yeah? Hallelujah. So it's not going to get it is the clarion call here. It's the clarion call. You're not going to get it. That's the hallelujah. If you're in this drive as this idea of self, to hear the news, you're not going to get it. You feel like it's unjust because you totally believe other people have gotten it, but somehow the universe is punishing you because you're so fucking important that it's going to take its time and just curse you, and you're never going to get it as a punishment. But in fact, it's a universal statement. You're never going to get it. Wow. And then watch what gets upset, and you're not that. How are you going to see what you're not if it's hiding in the weeds? And it has a life and a narration that never brings it out into the open. It's just doing it right out in the open, and you never see it. But to me, the invitation of non-duality, yes, you are already at that table. Yeah, So then you watch what reacts to that invitation, and it's not you. Yes. It comes out of the weeds. Yeah. You can't see it when it's low, but when it shows itself, there you go. The emperor has no clothes. Even wearing a three-piece suit, you'll see the emperor has no clothes. Most common activity during the day in conversations does not bring it out. Yeah, it's safe. It's like a conversational couch it's resting in. There's no threat, and it's misunderstandings and grievances, sharing all this and all that. Yeah, but I don't know how, but the little statements of non-duality, it's sort of like the snake charmer, the fucking cobra just starts coming out of the little basket, and you can see it. Yeah. And then the greatest reinforcement isn't I'm that, it's I'm not that. That's the greatest reinforcement. Because when you say I'm that, there's a claiming of it. Yeah. When you say I'm not that, there's no claiming. Yeah. It stops in its tracks. Yeah. How many times have you had a white light experience that got neutered by the claiming of it? Tons of fucking times. Yeah. But what happens now when that mechanical claiming arises, yes, and it's entered this door of the conscious contact millions of times, and you've always assumed it was you, me, yeah, oh, be, yeah, blah. Now you sit there, awesomely paused, and you're going, I'm not that. Incredible. Finally, the awareness is put to a very good use, which is really what I am is the seeing of what I'm not. That's what I am. What I am is really here, the awareness of what I'm not. Yeah. People have tried. Remember, there was a story, Ramana Maharshi, he sat like 9 years in this cave, didn't say anything. Insects ate his lower legs and people took care of him. And he humbly believed that he was transmitting something that was unable not to be received. Yeah. Yet it wasn't. And then he finally started to talk because it wasn't translating. It wasn't transmitting. No one was getting it. And then he said, the first thing he knew, paths don't work. So then he brought it back. He brought out self-inquiry. Yeah. Not to do it as a formal practice, but just as you can surprise the little comfortable head. Yes. Yes. What happens, there it is, it's in its little comfortable couch, and you ask the other aspect of itself to sit in the same couch. So suddenly, that which is asking, who am I, and that which is asked, who am I, two in the same couch, are both not you. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah. You very rarely do you see them in the same room at the same time. Very rarely. Usually there's an experience, the objective self has an experience, and then the head shows up a minute or two later and critiques it or goes over it. Yes? But to get them in the same space at the same time, it's going to lead to a negation. And there's your face, your original face, which is obviously not a face. I don't know how many times you're going to need to be electrocuted. Yeah, I don't. But there'll be constant availability of electrocution. Yeah, because hearing this message, knowing it or not, is definitely a threat to the system. And the system has a lot of bad habits. And one of them is it overplays its hand. It overplays its hand. It does. It's just like some people, they're just too greedy. They have everything they ever wanted, but they're still wanting more. Yeah, they just can't help themselves. So this thing is, you're gonna see it. You're gonna when it hears you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Wow. All the cobras came out of the basket. Right, dude, doing the little dance. And then he did it two more. You can't use mind, big M mind, to seek mind. And then the the fucking finality was you can't use light to seek light. Suddenly, the basket it was hiding in disappears, and there's the naked fucking cobra. You see the emperor with no clothes, or the king cobra. Yes? It doesn't take years of seeing. It can just be a whack that starts it all. Yes? And I humbly believe a whack is readily available in satsang. I do. I feel just like in recovery, we had this statement in our traditions there's a loving God or a power that's expressing itself through our group conscience. So when we get together, I feel something definitely uses that opportunity to express itself. It does, yeah. And I've seen more growth in looking at people doing nothing over the years than all the hyperventilating and da 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 da, all that stuff. Yes, just maybe it's coming up the ass. Who knows? But it's yeah, yeah. So the seeker is the sought, and so instead of all right, here's my life story. I'm the seeker. That never changes. There's the drive to seek never changes. The sought changes a lot. Yes. So I have a multiplicity in the sought, but the same verbing, the seeking is there, and definitely the same noun, the seeker is there. So the seeker, right, is seeking the sought. But this is beautiful. It says the seeker is the sought. So it just squishes that little time and space sandwich, bam, like that, like that. Don't have time to put mayonnaise on it or nothing, just bam. And there you are once again. And every time you get a Zen bitch slap, there you are because you've never left it. Do you think you were somewhere else and then there was a slap and then you rush back to somewhere else? You never left. Yes? It's the perfect direction because you're not going anywhere. Yeah? Oh, what? So, oh, I woke up to what? Awakeness? You don't wake up to awakeness. You wake up out of something. Yeah? If you're extremely obsessed with self, you are unconscious to your own nature. It's just the way it goes. Yeah? It says it in the Course very beautifully. It says, hey, actively denying what you are. No one believes they're doing that right now. Yeah. But a description in the Course, and a lot of people swear by the Course in Miracles, that description is saying this is your common momentary condition in mental time and space, is an active denial of what you are. It's not like boom, boom, boom. It's a subtle, yeah, habitual thing, but it is a movement. And you're denying what you are, firm in faith in this something else that your head has made to be you. That's it. Yeah. So by the time you start looking for what you are, you're definitely taken to be what you're not. This is why non-duality stops there and just negates the what you're not. It doesn't try to keep reinforce, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, because what you're not eats it up like fucking Cheerios. Yeah? All I am is consciousness. I understand that. Give me a fucking break. Yeah? I'm void. Give me a break. You have no idea what that means. Yeah? But your head, you have a lot of ideas how the head thinks it means. Yeah? Void, it sounds like the void is a place in Nebraska. I'm gonna transcend into the void. I'm gonna change my zip code. No, that void means void, empty of all every. You would not want to go there. You have no interest in it. You'll take a 50-year trip, and when you finally get to the event horizon of the void and it tells you you're not welcome, you'll go back. You want to be there to enjoy it. And if I can't go in, I don't, fuck it. Yeah. So, yeah, there's been a lot of dominoes. And luckily they didn't go vertical again. A lot of them laid like tombstones of the old system. Yeah. And you could read it. You could read what it says. Yeah. And you can reverse engineer. You can follow the dominoes and see what they say. And then these little cryptic sayings will mean so much to you. Yeah. Because they'll be like banners of salvation or liberation or whatever, a relief before the need to have relief. Yeah. Yeah. I can't say it because words definitely end there. Yeah. But hopefully, uh, when someone's pointing, I hope you don't think it ends at the end of the finger. Yeah. The pointing is implying, yes, something way beyond the 2 inches of the index finger. Yeah. Don't get fixated on the pointer, the pointing. Where does it, don't you feel it intimately? The possibility? Yeah. It's almost like every voyage of Sinbad is in there already. Yes. More than the 7 voyages of Sinbad. Yeah. There's such a recognition or a sense of it always being this way. Yeah. So the pointer isn't what to be, is not what to pay attention to. It's what you feel, yeah, in that gaze. Yes. Yeah. And really being super full may look like you're empty in a way, a lot of ways. Like when a kid, when you see a little baby, I think a lot of what you're attracted to is there's no one home in a sense. Yeah. And that's so attractive, isn't it? I mean, we used to have it at the meeting we did in Marin. Sometimes a woman would come in, and it's not because of the woman, but she had spent a lot of money to look great, and she was wearing incredible stuff, and she was stunning. Yeah. And then someone would bring in a baby, and all attention would go to the baby. Yeah. Because there was someone home in that stunning person, but there was no one home as the baby. Yeah. And really, our home is there's no one home. I truly believe it. We're trying to build homes, but our home is there's no one home. Yeah. Yeah. So, ah, our friend Ali came and Amelia's here and the dog's here. Mia's back in Australia. Hiram's back in Germany. Chris is watching Stanford volleyball or something. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. So anyone have anything they like to share or some questions? No? All right. I
Gary
think,
C. got his hand up, Paul.
who? Gary? Oh, Gary,
Gary,
come.
Gary, come on
Hey,
in.
Paul, I'm loving that image of going on a 50,000 year journey and getting to the gate of heaven. And then they say, sorry, you're not welcome here. And the person, the fraud who went on a 50,000 year journey says, fuck it, I'm going home then. It's like, well, of course you would say that. That's, I'm not that. He can go home now. Great. I'm going to hang out here at the gate.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, when he got home, it would take a very little bit of time to try to take the journey, but in an opposite way. to get the same result. We had the old story about knocking on heaven's door. Remember, I haven't used it in a while.
I like
Where,
it.
yeah, so knocking on heaven's door, there's a guy who's heard this report and a rumor that heaven's door is not far away. And of course, there's different takes on how you're going to be able to qualify to go there. So you assume you start doing the work that everyone suggested, and then you feel pretty confident. You've been doing a lot of service, all this stuff. So you go to the door and you knock on it, and it's sort of off-putting, but the door opens up immediately, like God was right behind it. And then there it is, and God says, no, you go, can I come in? And God looks at you and goes, Paul can't come in. So Paul gets a little frustrated. He doesn't, of course, he's been civilized, so he doesn't completely flip out. He gets frustrated, gets home, and decides, I'm going to triple my effort. Yeah, I'm going to read 800 commentaries on a fucking koan that I don't understand to begin with. So here I go, and then I'm feel very confident that I've fulfilled all my requirements I think God has. So I go there, knock on the door, very confident. My bags are already right, an inch away from going in. And then God opens the door and he looks at me. And I go, can I come in? Just a formality. I deserve to be in. I've done a whole lot more than other people I've heard are in. So I'm just doing the formality, but he stops me and goes, Paul can't come in. Now I'm fucking pissed. Yeah. So I run off, I throw a little fucking tantrum, and I go out, I start fornicating with others and drinking and getting loaded, and who give a shit, hate God. I don't like heaven anyway. And all like this. And then I'm walking home drunk and I fall into the river. And the river washes me up, and I come to right at the shore, and there's heaven's door. So I go to the door, and I just, whatever. And something happens. I've had enough, and I knock on the door, and there it is. It opens up immediately, and I go, can I come in? And God says, Paul can't come in, and I walk right in. Yeah.
But not Paul.
Exactly. Yeah, I could have. He was never saying I can't come in. He was just making a clear recognition. Paul, Jim, Mary, Jill can't come in. It wasn't personal. It was you can't come in. As long as I took myself to be Paul, I felt like I was rejected. When I got over that fucking idea, I walked right in. Yeah, it's a similar thing right here. It really is. It's similar. I mean, if you look at all the requirements, they're on your side. You've read some book that you have to make up for all the transgression or something, and it's innocent, and everything piles on, and it's always about you, literally. Yeah. God is more about the knower of God, which is you. God just becomes an object to the knower of God's subject, really. And you think God's going to do for you what you would do for you if you were God. So it's truly a God of your own making. We are not made in the image of God. We've made a God in our image. Really, that's it. Don't believe that we've made a God in our image. And we believe, like we believe everything else, you got to earn fucking shit. Yeah. And
That sounds like 50,000 years.
Hmm?
That's a 50,000 year journey.
Oh yeah, there you go. And after you fulfill the requirements, they always throw another one in. It just keeps going. Yes. So because in a sense, like Ramana said it in a beautiful way, the idea of being ourselves reality. If you look at that from the mental logic, it leads to the inevitable recognition that you're blocking you from reality. Yeah. It just does. And then in the mental logic that we're being led by, The only thing is I have to be destroyed to
Mhm.
be house, to be reality. Yeah.
Right.
And who the hell's gonna do that? If that's the deal, I've got to be destroyed for me to be myself reality. I'm gonna take the slow way to that moment, obviously.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a dualistic cognitive dissonance is going to be running like this.
Yeah, that just doesn't work for me.
Inevitably, that's what happens. If you see, well, it's not this, it's not that, it's obviously you.
Mhm.
There's a feeling it's the you that you are. And basically, God, you, I'm going to go with you. Most cases. uh, that's the God of duality, literally.
Mm.
The
Mm.
God of duality is something you think you're going to meet as a person, like at the 18th hole at the golf course in heaven or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Is he going to give you all your rewards?
it just doesn't, I don't see it that way, but yeah. So
Mm.
thank you for the heaven's door. I haven't gone there in a long time. Hmm. He could have kept doing that for his whole life, being rejected because, and of course, the only way he could see why he was rejected is he's not worthy to begin with, obviously. And it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how many requirements I fill, I can't override that feeling of incredible guilt, like I talk about the Course in Miracle. That, yes. So a lot of people, I see a lot of people, they have such a belief they're wrong. Their whole life is about being right about that. Yeah. Their whole life
Mm.
is about
Mm.
right about how wrong they are. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big ego trip or whatever you call it.
It's insane.
I've spent a lot of time apologizing for everything. You name
Mm,
it, I'll apologize for it because it's all about me.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great because that me it's all about ain't you. That's the beauty of it. So
All about
let it
ain't
come
you?
up. Why? The thing is, when someone tries to sit on it and be pure or something, it blows up sooner or later.
Mm.
Let the what you're not do its thing and just greet it with a healthy suspicion finally, instead of like a kumbaya movement. Yes.
Yeah.
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 You know,
Why
because
not?
one of the things that, I mean, it's sort of like the unmentioned thing, but when I get to the door and it says you can't come in, it's like, well, I guess the obvious choice is suicide because um, I can't come in and there's no world without me. So it, you know, I've considered suicide many times in my life, but I always figured, oh, I'll probably have to come back and do it all over again. So it's too much
Yeah.
trouble. But it's a natural thought at that point of ultimate frustration.
Yes. Yes. It is. And the thing is, it's not. You're not being told you can't come in. He's stating a fact. Paul,
Yeah.
Mary, Jill, something that has some form that has been given name can enter. The kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is not an appearance.
It's
Yeah.
not here.
There's not like Beverly Hills, or sort of Beverly Hills and different fucking vacation. It's it's the end of appearance, I would imagine. Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this, which is an appearance, can enter that realm of non-appearance. It's just that's the way it goes. Yeah.
It's
So he
like that
was never
mind.
saying I can't come in. He was saying Paul can't come in.
Paul can't come in.
Yeah,
Gary can't come in.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, what happens when you hear satsang? Doesn't a lot of your requirements or the requirements fall? Or you didn't even know you had a list of requirements and then they become obvious that you did. Yeah, I saw it. I mean, and then it was obvious the requirements was on my side. There was that which is, I don't think has any requirement. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. So more and more, there's less and less of any interest in requirements. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there really isn't any interest in requirements. It's just that which is not you doesn't come in.
Exactly. So you've lost interest in that. And now the idea of liberation is I've been liberated from the need to be liberated. Yeah.
Mm.
It's as simple as that. I've been relieved of the need to be relieved. Yes. I swear, in my head, there was you ever see the, what are they, chipmunks that go in that wheel? We used to have another
Mhm.
story about that. The thing gets into that wheel and just keeps on going. Yeah.
Mhm.
Gerbil.
And gerbil, whatever.
It's a
And
hamster wheel.
yeah,
It's a
and the
hamster wheel.
wheel isn't wheeling without the hamster. Yes.
Say
So
that again?
it's the wheel, the hamster wheel isn't wheeling without the hamster. It's
Right.
just sitting there. It has no movement in and of itself. The hamster, and then the hamster may have self-centeredness and it's bitching about the fucking hamster wheel, even though it's the driving force of the hamster wheel.
Its own motion is creating, yeah, yes.
Exactly. So, and it bitches and it talks to other hamsters. This wheel, I fucking yeah. You don't know that you're the wheel is absolutely nothing. It
Mhm,
needs
mhm.
the verb, yes. The verb is us. Yeah. We're the verbing. That's fucking triggering this noun of the wheel of life. Yes. If you ever look at the wheel of life presented in Tibetan Buddhism, it's an interesting thing. It's a whole like it says a whole lot in this circle, and it has this thing
Mhm.
called Yama, the god of death, holding it. And then in the corners are two very inconspicuous but overriding Buddhas. Yeah. So no matter how, but the god of death is huge in the picture,
Mhm.
and yet has no power over these very small little Buddhas that are sitting in the top, fucking not looking at anything in the wheel of life. It's just, it's a complete clarity of knowing. Yes, yeah. So
Mhm.
it's a pretty interesting thing. And in this way, the hamster wheel, I bet you the hamster has no fucking idea. It thinks what's happening is caused by the wheel.
Or its childhood experiences, or
Yes,
you name it.
whatever's moving it, there you go. So I feel a lot of requirements are gonna drop, just like leaves fall off a tree in the fall. Yeah, they are,
Mhm.
and you'll see where they came from. They did not come from. They came from us. Yes, they did. Obviously.
Yeah,
So yeah, there you go. It's good, Gary. Yes.
chasing
It
nothing.
isn't about getting out of the hamster wheel. It's just realizing you're not a hamster. Yeah.
Then there's no fight with hamster or hamstring. There's
And you may
nothing.
even like wheels. You never know.
Yeah,
You
could
may
be.
like, yeah. I've always liked the wheel. I didn't like it when it ran me over in the Chevy Mon, but I like wheels to begin with. Yeah. So yes, these little statements are just to trigger something you already know. Yeah. We already know this. It's just like you have a desk where all your seeking is, and you have a pile of shit sitting on this. If you just look through the desk, you'd realize you already are where what you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah. So satsang just blows away a lot of the shit on the desk. So you can get to it quicker, so to speak. Yes. With no thought or
Amen.
effort on your part. And when there's absolutely no thought or effort on your part, it's easier to see that it's not you. Literally.
Mm.
Yes. if there was a lot of thought and effort involved, it would be very easy for it to be claimed as you did it. But most people who have a sense of relief know they had nothing to do with it, literally. Yeah. Same thing in recovery. Recovery is very clear to me that no human power could have produced what was produced by something else.
Mm,
I had a lot of people who loved me or didn't like me and wanted me to stop. Nothing could do it, but something did. Yeah. I don't need any explanation, but it was super clear. And it's never not been clear for 36 years. Yeah. Same with this. I mean, you know, if you're a hammer, everything seems as a nail. If you take yourself to be a body, everything has to be approached by doing and having and getting, and then also losing and not getting. Yes, all this, all based on the mechanism of this action figure. Yeah. Why do you think
yeah.
they a spiritual path? What spirit do you see takes a path? You're going
A
to meet us
body.
walking on the path. Who walks? What spirit walks? A body walks. Yeah. Bodies take paths. Yes, it's all most spirituality is framed as a body. That's the same thing that happened with yoga. Supposedly in the old Indian thing, yoga was just to keep the body loose and stuff
Hmm.
with the hopes, and then the real yoga wasn't getting body contortions, was union. That's what it meant.
Union.
Union. So where the the two imaginary opposites would be seen through and there'd be union. So they did this, they did the postures and the exercises to keep themselves limber so that they would stay healthy long enough to get the union, that there was already union. Yeah. Yeah. What has it turned
Yeah.
into?
Body centered motion.
A lot. So there's
Improving the
still a lot of
body.
people hold the spirit of it, but they don't sell pants, you know. There's yoga outfits and tons of shit. Yeah. Yeah. What's getting adorned there? The spirit? No, the body. Yes, it's difficult to get
Mm,
out of it. As it, forget it. So this is just losing
mm,
interest in it. It doesn't mean that playing God continues. I just quit the playing God. Yeah. I don't see that which is playing God to be that important. And then actually its whole news broadcast turned into a comedy show. And I think it's a much better use to use it as comedy. Yeah. It really is. You can do so many skits based on self can't get out of self because it doesn't get it. It's like a vaudeville. Abbott and Costello. It's never who's on first. It never fucking gets it. It can't get that self can't get out of self. It just keeps trying.
And the big hook comes out and drags him off
It
stage.
goes right back out and gets the hook right back out. Just can't. And then you see something. It's programmed.
Mm, yeah.
It's defined. There's a very clear yes no in the dualistic programming. Yeah. And you can only go so far, and then it just frazzles. It just bing, and it backs up and tries it again, usually with a different vehicle. Like for me, it was trying to get out of it by reading Poe, Edgar Allan Poe, and science fiction, then drugs and alcohol, then spirituality, then back to drugs and alcohol. Yeah. Basically, it was the same drive. When I hit the wall, I didn't learn anything. I just backed up and got into a different vehicle. So I thought it was the Toyota's fault. So I got into a Rambler. I thought it was the Rambler's fault. So I got into a Dodge. I thought it was the Dodge fault. So I got into a Chevy. It's called that definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. Yeah. You
Mm,
cannot get out of a body as a body. You realize you're not in a body. Or actually, you realize you're not of a body. You may even say you're in
Mm,
a body.
in, but not out.
Still not clear, but it's the ofness that you're not of a body is really the defining boundary, so to speak. Yes?
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Paul. That there's some key that you are transmitting somehow that makes all the difference, at least for me. It's like some little shift that says it's not you. Whoa. Well, that's different. I always
Yes.
thought I was going to improve me to the just like your story. I'll just do this one final cleanse and then everything will be good. And it's like you
Yes.
put the kibosh on that. That's
Great.
no.
Happy for that. Yeah, there's
There
this
isn't.
idea of more doesn't work, you know? It's more.
Yeah.
If we do something and it doesn't work, it will if we do more. That
Yeah.
thing, that thing can go with you to the grave. It will. I saw it with the meditation. Started with a Saturday in Bolinas, California. Sat with a Zen guy, and then a couple of weeks later, I did a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then I felt, oh, this is like kindergarten. I'm going to move and do a 10-day or 7-day retreat. And then I'm going to go to the home of Vipassana. I'm going to Burma and I'm going to try to do it over there.
Mm.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'll be in Thailand. I'll do it there. And then it was just more, spend more time. Yeah, maybe usually the formula was 13 hours of meditation. So you would I always would go 7 movement, like walking and stuff, and 6 sitting, yeah, a day. So you'd be doing a lot of walking meditation, which is at least a little, your cheeks got some relief, your ass cheeks, and then 6 sitting. And then you do it, and there you wouldn't even get food. You'd get like a soup before in the morning, and then you could have a yogurt drink, like a little kefir. And I lost a pound a day. I went 21 days there, and I'm super skinny to begin with. And I was just hallucinating my brains out. Because I hadn't eaten. It's just fucking crazy. It was just like, it was like well-earned drug high. Yeah. I
Mhm.
felt like I earned it instead of just snorting coke. I did it on my own. It was insane. By the time I left, I remember I was sitting in this, they call it a tuk-tuk, and it was bringing me back to Chiang Mai. I could feel the effects get overridden by the normalcy of day-to-day life. Just
Mhm.
like quickly mixed in, and I lost it. Just by the time I got to my guest house, it was basically I got to do a longer one. Yeah,
Mm.
I got to do a
Mm.
month. Yeah, I fell for that for a number of times until I was over. It was over. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I believe a lot of success is everything failing you. Yeah,
Mm.
those to me are the greatest successes of things, is that they inevitably fail because you cannot arrive at where you already are. It is impossible. It is impossible for you to be away from that which you want to arrive so much. It's impossible for you to be away. It's impossible. Yeah. So however long or short it takes, great, you know, because the infinite has no sweat outlasting the finite. So, all right, Gary, thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Gary. Yes, I believe Annette wants to come in, Paul.
You believe it? You
Oh,
sure?
I did believe it.
All
I
right.
think so.
I raised my hand before, but I didn't want to go over because it's getting late. But I'll just say that. So last night I caught one of your YouTube. Sometimes they pop up these old ones, and anyway, this one to do with the metaphor of the snake and the skin, um,
Oh
the
yeah,
shedding, like that metaphor, you know.
I forgot
And
that one.
it just like it crystallized, or however you want to say it, was just like like right where I was, you know, it was because I had such a hard time. I think I shared this before. It's like hard to put it in words, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's like I don't even dare call it a download or something. Like it's just seeing things as so, like you said, so red is red. It's so obviously not anything else, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know. So that one, yeah, it was like a beautiful, like I feel like almost like the lion story, the lion and the sheep story to me. You know, that's how it hit. You
Thank you
know,
for reminding me of that. I completely forgot about the skin and the snake. Great. And I also completely forgot knocking on heaven's door. So this tonight has triggered remembrance of two of my golden oldies, so to speak. The skin and the snake, I like that one. It seems to get across something I want to get across. I'll have to do that tomorrow or something. I forgot actually how it went, and it's coming back to me. So thank you, Annette. I did. I forgot.
it's like the culmination, right? It's like because the layers and the layers and the layers, and that's what I was identifying. Like just hearing like how it's all just opinion upon opinion, like year after year after year. That's like it's almost like what I'm made of. Like what this body is just opinion after fucking all of it, you know? And I don't know, it's just what I see now. You know, it's like just in everything, like, you know, like all
Yeah.
around. And you know, it's I don't know, I guess you could say it's funny. It is funny at times, but like for me in this life that I'm walking through right now, where I can, you know, I get so involved, it's work that I'm so involved with heavily. And it, it's amazing to me that this vision can happen like in this type of a situation, you know. It's
Yeah,
like
well,
let's
yeah.
just say from the beginning of this back in May when I started this, every day I'd be like, I can't do this another day.
Yes.
Like what? You
Yes.
know, so I don't know. Yeah, it's less than perfect, you know. I know that. I know that, but then I do look at how it's serving me in ridding me of my other obsessions. That you know, it's like all my obsessions are like woof in like one area. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you
That's
know, at
good.
the end of the day, you know, I'm a nurse. I'm a home care nurse, and at the end of the day, when people say, "Oh, are you coming back?" You know, it makes me feel all right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
whatever, you know. But even in those things that are not like that, in just everything, you know,
Yes.
that's what I was getting is that it's it's okay, even the things that are like that I'm not going to speak of right now. And like, because when I make another opinion about that being wrong, that's what always keeps me chained, you know? So they're like, so what if I had some ice cream? Like, whatever, you know, like it doesn't have to be a fucking, you know, shit
Yeah.
show. And the roads I used to go down with this, you know, it was like one would just get really strong and that dog would just take over, you know, and just shame and everything on top of it and, you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
but the
So
momentum has changed now, honey. Just ride the wave. Yeah.
yeah, it's so different. It's just wild to me.
Bring you to a different shore. It's not going to be the same shore it's going to break. It's going to bring you to a different shore. Yes. You may never even arrive at a shore again. You'll just be
Yeah.
riding. Yeah. Pretty nice.
Going where? You know? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Doesn't matter. You'll be looking around. Don't worry. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Yes, Mike M has his hand raised.
All right, Mike.
Come on, Mike.
Hey, Paul. First, I wanted to tell you about this movie called The Substance. I sent you a text, but
I've
I
seen the
think
movie Substance.
oh, you saw it?
Yes, yes.
It just so reminded me of what we're talking about here, like this dire need to get back to something and then ultimately pay the price. Like it's so crazy.
Well, they
Um,
really embellish it, yes. But
they
yeah,
embellished it, but it paradoxically, it just meant something to me about this desperation to hold on to something and to go to any length to hold on to it until it literally kills me.
Yes.
But
But those days are
something,
over for you, Mike, also.
what's that?
Those days are over for you.
They
You're
sure
not,
are.
your life is not a rerun.
No,
You're moving
not at
into a
all.
different
Not
phase.
at all.
Yeah.
And that
It
brings
gets
me
up.
to the next thing that I've really learned. That idea that I always thought there was something to get. And then, like, when this sunk in, I was thinking about the line in the book where it says, what we really have is a daily reprieve that is contingent on the maintenance of this spiritual condition, which also isn't even really my job to enlarge my spiritual life, but it helps to do unity, recovery, service, help others, turn out of self. But that really hit me because that's all that I've ever really had. But I was so busy trying to get other shit that I couldn't see that that's what I really had. Does that make sense?
Yes, but that has served you now by your
Yes.
calling.
Yes. Without trying to constantly get shit or looking forward to the promises once I complete a certain step or do a certain thing. And then when they happen naturally, there's a whole different viewpoint because I didn't make it happen and it just
Yeah.
evolved on its own. And
Well, they're
that's what,
happening naturally, and they're combined with a loss of interest in self.
yes,
That's the thing. And then you see
yes,
the loss of interest in self is sort of the precursor for those things to start becoming obvious to you.
yes, yes. You put it into words. And that loss of interest in getting anything or that there's something to get has brought me more and more into the day than any hardcore practice. Like I've tried so many different things. Same thing, trying to enlarge my spiritual life, the way it should look, the way the results should be. And that loss of interest, like like you said, like returning to where we never left or something like that. It's like that really hits for me because it's like, oh, I've always been here. I've just been blocked
Yeah.
from here. Yeah,
Well, you
anyways, it's
haven't been
hard to put
blocked.
into
That's the
words.
weird thing. You were just uh your looking was directed by the head. Yes.
Right, right,
Yeah. It's all seems everything is a seemingly so. It appears to
exactly.
be true to you. It
Right.
it can't it's not true, but it can appear to be true to you because you are true.
Mm,
Yeah. So when it says false evidence appearing real, the acronym for fear in some parts of AA, the false evidence cannot appear real. It appears real to what's real, which is us. So the falsehood appears real because of our agreement with it. Yes. And as it says in the Course of Miracles, if we've turned our life over to this thing to lead us, why should we be suspicious of what it's doing? Well, we've gotten to that point of being suspicious with what it's doing because it's a failed system. It's like HAL in 2001. It's saving its own fucking mechanical ass. Yep. So we're at a different point now. So these things that we've tried to do failed. It's sort of like if you fell in a chasm and you were trying to grab something growing out of the walls of the chasm and you kept failing. And then suddenly you realize your hands are wings instead of hands. Yeah. So now you don't need something to grab onto. So basically, if something was constantly being there to be grabbed onto, it would be a disservice for you because you would never be led to realizing you have wings. Yes. So this is why it's beautiful when everything fails because there's no need for them to succeed. You already are what you're looking for. Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful in a lot of ways.
100%.
Yeah, so I know your mental type. Yeah. Everyone, we're not exotic, Bugatti self-centeredness. They're pretty
Nope.
it's a stock cherishing of an idea called a long-lasting independent separate entity that's gone awry. It's a little crazy and stuff like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the way to get relief from it isn't by wrestling it or trying to change it. It's losing interest in it, literally. That's what.
Yeah.
And however it takes or whatever it takes to lead you to that point, everything that led you to that point has value because of doing just that, leading you to the point of losing interest in self.
Yeah.
That's when a whole other chapter starts appearing. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you realize it wasn't the book that was withholding anything, it was the reader of the book.
Yeah.
Now that you've lost interest in the author, the book can turn into something unbelievable. Or
Yeah.
very normal and be unbelievable. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, bro.
All right. I do too, bro. I really thought I was impressed by you just coming over to Italy and fucking riding that electric bike after it ran out of juice. all the way to the gelato store.
I was willing because you told me I was going to get whacked, and I was like, all right, if I'm getting, this is how I'm getting whacked. It's not so bad.
I
Yeah, I
love
wouldn't have missed that, man. I would not have missed that. That was
Thank
important to come and hang with you guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. I think we're gonna start saying goodbye. There's some
Thank you,
visitors.
Paul. I want to say thank you to you, Paul, and Annette, and Mike.
Oh, yeah, and you, Kathleen, and everyone else. But let me say goodbye to everyone. Annette, yeah, it doesn't, one of the requirements is that it's not needed is you don't need to put it into words, honey. What you are speaks louder than what you want to say, so don't worry about that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be captured.
Yeah,
Hey.
it seems to be less and less important. It's just weird. It's just, you know what I mean? Like that claiming wants, I guess, still want to happen. It's claiming is all it is.
You'll be, that weirdness is gonna turn really good, don't worry. Yeah, yeah. It's weird sitting on a horse looking over the horse's head, not its fucking tail. That's weird too, but now at least you're gonna see something other than shit. The weirdness is a joy, really. Yeah, it is. David, nice to see you, my friend. Down under. Yeah, Kerry, our emissary in Hawaii. Nice to see you, Kerry. Gary C. in Placerville. He's been in the forever sinking ship of Zen Bitch Slap from the beginning. Eric, nice to see you, my friend. Yeah. Chris in Olympia, Washington. Chris D. Yes. Stephen Mack, Jim Elliott, over in Sydney, Australia. Mika, our man in Finland. Nice to see you, Mika. Eric in Vista. Yeah. Eric is a living Vista in Vista. Hey, I can't get to the second page, so good night. I'll lose everything. So, hey, we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, some of you, Thursday. And we're back on, it's the same easy, just go to the Zen Bitch Slap and go hit that, it's working again. Yeah? Yeah. And let's thank Martin for doing an incredible job from Belgium. I mean, really. He's doing a great job. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Paul.
Everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Paul.
Thank you all.
All right.
Bye.